Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point, to our mother platform focused on Liberia. We have a jam-packed house today. We have issues that are a current event in Liberia. We will be going into the history of some of the things that have brought us together when we talk about the Unification Party. We talk about the unification of our country. We'll be talking about issues that actually have some historical context. As you know, that in a few days we are going to be celebrating the birthday of our former president, President William V.S. Tubman, the father of unification in Liberia. And one of his major accomplishment is to bring our people together. The unification of Liberia that brought together different counties, different culture, different tribes, different folks. In that particular context, he did something that was very significant. He is a student of actual Western civilization. When we talk about the War of the Roses, this is the time where, when we were fighting war during the old days, they would drop their guns and they would come together and celebrate the Olympics. And then after the Olympics, the war starts again. Same concept here. His birthday is coming up, and we have something called the county meeting in Liberia, where all the counties come together through sports, through soccer and kickball. Later on, they added kickball for the ladies. Soccer is the glue that joins us together. And the history of soccer in Liberia, some say, cannot be talked about if you do not mention the Southeast. So we are going to delve into the history of soccer. And with me are two major people from the county of Grand Bassa that are actually chairing and co-chairing and members of the Bassa mobilization. Those are the folks who are responsible to, they are just like a majority whip. They are here to whip the Grand Bassa people into a frenzy in supporting sports. We are hoping that down the line, we're going to have people from Grand Cru, Grand Cape-Mount, Montserrat, and recently the most recent champion, Lofa. Beyond that, we are going to actually go into current events in Liberia after our guest from Grand Bassa County leaves. We are going to be discussing the death of the Zogos, the shootout in Duala. We want to know what went on there. From what we understand, that former rebels have been used as paramilitary to fight for the police. This is just an accusation that we have to delve into. We are also going to look at the topic of Madam Mary Broh being brought back into the city to claim the city. What are the ramifications? What does this mean for the sitting mayor? And what is the role of the sitting mayor? Why will you relegate your power? Is that power usurpation to somebody else to come in and do your dirty work? And can this be sustained? Where is the city mayor himself? What is the role of the city mayor? These are discussions that are going to be held today. So we have a full-packed house. George Tulay is out today. He's going to be joining us later on by God's grace. So we're going to go around the table. We're going to start with Mr. Joshua Power. Introduce yourself and tell us why you are here. I know you're ready to drum by the Bassa support. As you can see, I'm from Grand Bassa County. I got my blue on. I'm all blue. As you can see, I'm wearing my blue. I'm ready to rock and roll. Go ahead, Mr. Power.
Well, let me say thank you very much for having me on this platform to discuss issue that relates to our country, Grand Bassa in particular. Let me also let you know that I got interest in the following topics after we have discussed the sport. We're here to advertise Grand Bassa, talk to our people about BSA, the Bassa Sport Association. We're looking for support. We're looking for people from Bassa to support their team and everything that can make Bassa to win the trophy. That is why we are here. Once again, my name is J. Joshua K. Power, and I am the CEO of the Conversation with Power.
Thank you very much. And our dynamic, able chair of the mobilization team, Madam Harris, introduce yourself, who you are, and why are you here?
Henry, please. Give thanks
You are muted.
to discuss the county meet. We are here to discuss and promote Grand Bassa County, and we are also here to give support to our team. county meet. And I'm the diaspora chair for the
Okay, she's having problem with her audio. Hopefully she can adjust her audio. We can hear her, but it's fine. And we're going to go to my co-host here, who is our guest host, knowledgeable. It also turns out that Mr. Eastman is from Bassa also, so it turned out to be a Bassa affair. I didn't know that it wasn't planned. Mr. Eastman, go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like you got a Bassa bias, man, Jerome. Yes, but yeah, but I'm torn because I have heritage in Bassa and Riversest, but I also have heritage in Monserrato, so I kind of play spider right here. But it will be a pleasure to contribute to the show today. The County League has been something that gears up a lot of excitement, and our people have treasured these times to get together and promote harmony. It's a great source of bringing people together, and it's a pleasure to be able to be here with you tonight to talk about it.
Thank you very much. And if you are in cyberspace, please hit the share button. Your friends may not be our friends, but we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance and the opportunity to partake in what we are doing here. So please share the video, invite your families and friends to participate. The objectives of the county meet is to jinx up the frenzy about why Grand Crew have been dominating sports all of these times. And now we see somebody here from Lofa County that just won the trophy recently. And I know he's here to beat his chest. Lofa County is the best soccer team and the best soccer folks in the country. But then when you talk to my brother Anthony CA and you talk to the CEO, they will tell you that the Southeast is the powerhouse of soccer. Actually, when you look at the history here that we're going to go into, we will see that the Southeast, SASTA, Crew Coast Territory, Sano have always been the powerhouses of soccer in Liberia. So we are glad to actually tip off this event, and we want to know what is it that we need to do to bring our folks together. People should always now understand that focus on Liberia. When we meet here, we just talk politics. No, sometimes we talk about things that bring us together, and soccer is one of those things. Before we delve into the politics and the current event, soccer has been very, very key to us. So, Mr. Eastman, Mr. Power, you can jump in anytime you want. Can you give us a brief history of soccer in Liberia?
Well, soccer, as you correctly said,
the county meet.
Yes, okay. It has been a pastime. Now, the county meet, they started in about 1956. That is when the first county league was held. And we have had several winners since then, but just like you said earlier, it appears that Grand Crew has won 4 times more than anybody else. But they are followed shortly behind by Grand Bassa. Grand Bassa has won it 3 times. And of course, last year, Lofa won it for the first time since the establishment in 1956. We've had a lot of stars have played. We have people like Patrick Arthur, Anthony Wisett, Tope Roberts, Sylvester Red, Michael Topla. All these people have participated in these events. So it has been one of the most celebrated events in our history since 1956. And again, it provides a good pastime for people. Your people should get to show the love for their county. They get to don the flags of their counties and rally together. And it's a time of joy, a time of camaraderie, and it promotes Liberia as a whole.
Thank you very much. I want to welcome my co-host, Mr. Tulay. Mr. Tulay, welcome. I know you're doing a lot of studying to go, and you are right in the middle. We all envy you because you were the guy that won the trophy the last time. Lofa won it, and they were bragging all over the place. We love Lofa County. We love the diversity And I'm glad I found finally the trophy left the southeast and is now in the north. So, Mr. Tulay, welcome and educate us on the county meet. I know you are a Tottenham enthusiast, just like I am. What you know about the county meet and what does it do for us as Liberians?
We are not hearing him.
You are mute. You are mute.
Sorry. Thanks for welcoming me. How you doing, guys? It's nice being here again. Sorry that I'm late. Actually, when you look at the county meet, for me, I think it has lost its purpose, the main purpose. The county meet was meant to feed, not only to bring us together to unify us, but one of the key purposes was to bring players forth so that they can be spotted. It wasn't meant for players in the first division, second division to be grouped together to win laurels for their respective counties. One of the goals was to, always have a core of players coming through so that you can have these talents spotted and then given the chance to shine on the national level. But some kind of way, like with football, everything about Liberia has just missed target. Along the way, we've lost our bearings as a people. So consequently, it's like nothing works the way it was intended in Liberia. And we have habituated that in the sense that it's so used to us, all right? We have become numb to mediocrity. We have become numb to failure. So consequently, our whole football and one of the ironies of this is that we have a man who spent more than half his life, or more than half his life as it is now, in the soccer arena. So everybody expected that you will have a boost. There will be an injection, like a vaccine to this thing to create immunity and to create growth. But we haven't seen it. So the content meet for me right now is just a show, all right? It's a place again for corruption. And Mr. Eastman can bear with me. It's like everywhere you pull, like bring people, somebody planning to steal whatever small money that is there. People are thinking how they can create avenue to steal and to rob, to take advantage of the next person. God have mercy. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's just what it is. So it has lost for me. It has lost that significance. It has lost that importance in our national discourse. It's just a drop. Before, I can tell you, before the war, content being was a big thing. Not like now. It was a thing of pride. But like now, even when you're saying it now, some people, okay, when that time comes, they just pay, cursory attention to it and they move on.
Okay, Mr. Powell, you are from Grand Bassa County, and you are part of the mobilization team. What is it that you are doing in Grand Bassa County or in a Grand Bassa County organization to drum for the support and, like he says, to bring back that pride, that national pride? What is the theme of your organization this year? What is the theme of the Grand Bassa County people?
So this is how I see the county meet. This is what I think it's supposed to be. Matter of fact, the theme for this year is how can we reclaim the trophy?
Reclaiming the trophy.
Reclaiming the trophy. And it entails so many things. I want to tap in Mr. Tulay, getting or mitigating corruption in the county meet, where coaches will want to take bribe from the player. You have to give me something to put you on the team. You have to do this before you play. We need to get rid of those things. Matter of fact, this is how I feel the county meet should be. Most of our young men travel to non-footballing country just to go play football. So when they play 4 to 5 games a day for little or nothing. I don't know about yesterday, but this county meet of our time, it has more momentum than even the NFL league. I believe if we were to make this county meet the way it's supposed to be, we will draw more attention. Just how we go and watch Chelsea and Arsenal and Manchester another game. We should make this county meet a national league that all the Barca people will support the Barca team. And then the player will be on salary, they will make good money because you got 15 counties. Let's say the 15 counties got 15 teams, and you bring extra 5 teams from different teams and make it a 20 team or whatever number can do a whole cycle like it has been done in Europe. People will support it. But the county meet is just a short period of time. After 2 months, the county meet is over. All the balls go back. Nobody know their way ball. I remember some county meet, there was this guy called Benjamin Lolo. That guy from Riverses. They made me were ranking that whole county meet. Right after that county meet, we never heard about no Benjamin Lolo again. But if it was consistent league, these guys will improve. They will put bread on the table. And I have said it consistently, and I just hope that people who are in authority in the sporting arena can see this and tap into it. Let us make content meet a national league.
Thank you.
You don't have to get your boss going to sponsor country to play football.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, that you are here. You are listening to the views of everybody else. What is it you doing in the diaspora that will bring the organization, the structure, and the changes that you know, and I know, and Tulay knows, and everybody here knows, and Mr. Eastman knows, that we need to bring to the organization to make sure that the county meet, it is not about just Grand Bassa County, and after the election, after the tournament, it dies away. How do you keep this thing going? How do you monetize it? How do you professionalize it without the extracurricular activities when it comes to accountability and all of those things? Why should I give you my money to support Grand Bassa County when you can't even account for it?
Thank you. I agree with the previous speaker that there are some corruption down the line. We are trying as much as possible to eliminate the corruption, even if it cannot be eradicated. This is why we are here. I can assure you that Grand Bassa of yesterday is a different Grand Bassa of today. Since I got on board last county meet, everything we did for the county, every money that was collected, we have the record. We have I had the secretary to do an official report, email to the superintendent. So those who gave money to us last year, I can tell you proudly that we can give account of those money, how it was spent, and everything that we did. I can even tell you it off here without even looking at the record. Now, coming to the game, like my comrade Joshua said, coaches are taking money or percentage from players before putting players on the team. This is something that we witnessed last county meet, and it is sad that these things are happening. But we are trying as much as possible. You know, we are in the era of generating funds from the county to help budget the county to sponsor the team. But this year, if we see these things happening, I personally going to write against it, most especially within the Grand Bassa cycle. We'll write against it and present those, individuals who are involved to the county authorities so that they can be removed from the county team and they will never serve Grand Bassa County.
Can I come in quickly, Mr. Gayman?
1 minute before you come in. Let me ask the chairlady here. I'm reading here some comments from Grand Bassa County. They said last year when you were there, the government develops a national budget, and the county meet has a budget, and every county has a budgetary line item, and they get money. I heard there were buses broke down when the team were on their way to play, and they were stranded, and people have to put their hands in their pockets personally to transport these folks. I'm also hearing that some players didn't have place to sleep, and some people had to pay for hotels for people to sleep. Some people walking off camp because they didn't have enough money to feed their wives and their children, and they left the camp. So you, as part of the administrative wing, what is going on here, and why should George Tulay or Mr. Eastman from Grand Bassa County or me give you money when you know there's money in the budget, and yet you are struggling? So what's happening here?
First of all, I'm the mobilization chair for the diaspora, not even Liberia. We have a desk of mobilization chair for Liberia. We had a person last year in person of Joseph Mender. Jerome Vonyuga is the BSA chair, and we all work as a team. When it comes to the fundings of the BSA, I'm not in charge of it. I'm not responsible. My duty is to generate fund and help to budget whatever funding the BSA receive from the county or from the government to sponsor the team. All what you are saying are truth. I personally was affected by some of the things you just said. There was a player who last minute of time was removed from the team. Jackson, after he was selected for the team, 4 days to the game, they removed him. He was so hurt, he was depressed, and he was crying like, "Oh, I needed this money to help my mother pay for her medical, expenses. She was sick. Why would you guys select me last minute of time? There is no way. Everybody have selected a team. There is no way I can go on any other county team and justify." So I'm like, you know what, Jackson, I will take you and I will see how best whatever the county is supposed to give you, I will give you half for it. I think his money should have been $400. I will give you half of this amount, and you can start off. He said, "Oh, mommy, I want to witness the game." I said, "Okay, I will be responsible to put you in at every game." It is so funny. Then he brought another complaint again that all the game, if I want to come Monrovia, how will he witness the game? Nowhere for him to sleep and this and that. I said, "I will help you." And I brought this little child to my house. You won't believe it. They brought raided my whole house. 5 a.m. He stole everything, my laptop, my son's clothes, my son's shoes, my sister's clothes. He stole everything. 5 a.m. he left the house. I had to call the superintendent to lodge a complaint. I called all the coaches. They said, "Oh, but we told you that boy can see. You're not supposed to carry him to your house." So some of these things, the players said they don't even deserve better. I had to put people on the horn. We phoned him in Basel. When I got my computer, the computer was all damaged. I got some of the clothes from him. I did not get everything. His mom died in the process. I still have to help him. I went to Matthew in Lockington. I paid his whole year school fee because he said he wanted to go to school. I did everything for him, and he left the school. My money wasted because he had to run away after stealing. And so some of the things, I don't know, some people just don't deserve good. But the person who was the captain last year, Kweku Mensah, I manage Kweku. I'm his current manager. Kweku is very humble. He's very intelligent. And, some people are just good and they deserve all the best. So we shouldn't look at one person and categorize the entire team. Those things happen, but this is why we are here, and we are glad that this year we have our host, Mr. Jerome Gayman, on the team. He's the co-chair for mobilization in the diaspora. So we're going to see to aid that things will be in place. Things will be in place. We schedule a meeting with the superintendent and the BSA chair because we want them to know how we expect things to be. They can't have funding for this. The ministry gave money for this. So how can we help? Where do we come in? We are now here to take the full responsibility of the county team. But, funds that we are aware of, we want to make sure players are well paid, players are fair on camp. Whether it is 1 or 2 times, they should eat, they should sleep on electricity and stuff like that. If you take care of the boys, you will get the desired result.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Tulay, you next here. When you talked about the original objective of the county meet was to bring people from the interior, to expose them in the process of why we are bringing people together, is to showcase their talent. Actually, it was like a scouting event, a big scouting event over a 2-month period where we would scout hidden talent in the different counties. And then they monetize it now. Corruption have taken over. Mr. Tulay, what would you suggest to streamline to actually, because they should be, every county should have like an academy.
Yeah, but let's go back a little bit. I know Mr. Gayman, he didn't even tell me that he part of the Basel County mobilization crew. But man, you as a professional person, you're supposed to give these information so that we can know that you're not playing your honest role here. You're trying to promote Basel County.
You came late. That's what happened.
Okay.
You came late.
Okay. My apologies.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, but I still doubt if you did that anyway. But my apologies. But initially, the thing was, the there was pride in every county bringing forth players from the tribes within that county or the territory. That was the initial concept. It wasn't like Lofa County going all over Liberia scouting for players from other tribes to come and play for Lofa County. Lofa County should do what they have to do within the year between the meets to look within. So if you, that means, in other words, since Lofa has Bandi Loma, Mende,
Pele.
Vahum, Mandingo, and Pele, and Kisi, we were to look. So even if they were in other counties, but they had to be from, that was the initial concept. Look among your people and bring forth players. But now it has become, like you said earlier, Mr. Gayman, has become so monetized. And it's like the shock-up process now. I don't need to develop anything back home in my country, in my county, because the county meet starts first from maybe junior high school league or high school, playing on market days or whatever, people playing in a county. And then you're looking at these players and elevating them gradually until they come to the place where they can be good enough for the county league. It's a developmental process. So, but right now it's not like that now. It's win by all costs. It's like the county meet now the national league. So you gotta go now, you scout for players from all over the place.
Follow tournament.
I don't think it's right. I think this is one of the things that we need to deal with. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be nationalistic as Liberians. It means that no, there are no boundaries, but let people from Lofa County represent Lofa County. Let people from Grand Bassa represent. Force Grand Bassa, force Lofa to create talent that they can rely on.
But Grand Bassa is doing that.
Madam, 1 minute. Thank you, Mr. Tulay. Real quick. Jimmy.
Yes.
You the historian here. Give us, Tottenham's birthday is coming up on the 29th, November 29th is William V.S. Tottenham's birthday. William V.S. Tottenham, in his infinite wisdom, introduced the unification system, the policy of unification in Liberia. It was through that in 1956 that he brought the county meet to bring us together. His birthday is 2 days away. Give us a historical context how important this is to his ideals.
Yes, one of the things that WVS Tubman championed was unity. And I can tell you, before Tubman, Liberia was really, a lot of people lived apart. In fact, there were a lot of people called themselves West Indian. Some people called themselves Americo-Liberian.
We lost you, Mr. Osman. Something's wrong with your microphone.
Oh, is it okay now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. I said one of the fundamental accomplishments of Tubman was that he saw that Liberians had to come together and be one. Back in the day, some Liberians used to call themselves West Indians. Some used to call themselves Americo-Liberians. Some used to they had different terminologies. And Tubman saw it. He said, we are no longer whoever our past or our heritage from. We are now Liberians. So this county league was to spur Liberians to come together and be proud of themselves. Now, it has come to a point that maybe we need, like when Mr. Tulay and Miss Henrys was saying, maybe we need to put some rules in place now. If the purpose is to develop players, then those players have to be identified within schools or counties or some local football teams. When things develop, when things get older, there are times that you have to employ rules to keep it afloat, to keep it progressing. So, yeah, to keep it viable, exactly. So these are the times. This is how this thing should be addressed now. It's not all is not lost. It's still a fervor for your county, but maybe we need to introduce rules and regulations now that would keep it honest. And but importantly, Mr. Gayman, as you mentioned, it has to stimulate unity. It has to always, the key point is to bring us together, let us know that we are one and we are capable of doing great things together. As long as that is the theme, that is to be the theme of the County League, that our people, we can do great things together if we put our hands together and do it.
Great. We're going to be going to our next event here. But first of all, Mr. Power, before we leave, there's something intrinsically powerful about the Southeast. I know we got to touch this. When you look at the literature here, it was all from the very beginning. It was all about the Southeast, especially Southtown Territory, Crew Coast Territory, Maryland County, Sino County. These are the powerhouses when it came to soccer. Why the Southeast? Why Grand Crew? Why Southtown? That area? Why that area has been so dominating when it comes to sports in Liberia?
Mr. Gayman.
Yes.
Before he comments, I'd like to give a history. Let me give the who been winning, so he can have a clear ground. In 1956, Maryland County faced off Montserrado, and Maryland won. In 1969, Grand Cape Mount County faced off Montserrado, and they won. In 1974, Grand Crew County won. In 1977, Grand Crew County won. In 78, it was Nimba. 79, it was Nimba. Then Grand Crew came back in 85, defeating Bassel 2-0. Then it came back in 87, defeating Magibi 4-1. Then Grand Jita County won in 1989. Interesting, right? Then, if y'all remember what happened, the county in 1989. I don't know if some of y'all too young to remember.
Cheating.
Very, very interesting.
Right.
In 1990, Grand Bassa beat Nimba 1-0.
Yep.
In 2004, Bapaluk County defeated Lofa 2-1. In 2007, Riverside County defeated Grand Jita 2-0. In 2008, Bon County beat Riverside 4-3. It was a tough match. 2010, Nimba beat Grand Jita 2-0. 2011, Nimba County beat Magibi. And 2012.
Was there a result there, Mr. Eastman? Was there a result in 2009? She's mentioning it. Who won?
2009, 5-2.
Start from 2008.
From 2008, it was 4-3. Bon County against Riverside. 2009, 5-2. Bommy beat River G. 2010, Nimba beat Grand Jita 2-0. 2011, Nimba won, but no scores were counted. They beat Magibi. Magibi won in 2012, 2-0. They beat Nimba. So it was a revenge match.
Yeah.
In 2013, Grand Cape Mount 1-1 with Montserrado. I think after penalty kick, I think they finally won 3-1.
Yeah. Grand
Cape Mount. In 2014, Grand Bassa beat Nimba 2-1. In 2015, it was canceled due to the Ebola epidemic. And in 2016, Grand Bassa were tied with Montserrado 1-1, but they beat them in the penalty shootout 3-1. And in 2017, Maryland tied with Montserrado 1-1, but the penalty shootout, Montserrado won 1-3. And finally, in 2018, Montserrado beat Bong 2-0. Those are the
but the most recent one, 2020.
Yes, that was Lofa.
Lofa defeated Montserrado. So Lofa is the incumbent, is the recent champion. So, Mr. Power, real quick before we transition into our next topic, what makes the Southeast so powerful? I'm talking about Southtown, Grand Crew, Sano. The Southeast, what makes them so powerful when it comes to soccer sports?
But
Mr. Gayman, that's why Jimmy read what he read.
hold on, guys.
Listen.
Let me have my time.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Gayman, I don't know why you're trying to lavish this kind of praises on Star Grand Crew. It's just one point between they and Bassa, and we all know what happened between the Nimba and the Grand Crew game. It did not end well. People felt marginalized. So don't give them that leverage. All right, they don't deserve it. The game has been very, very competitive.
Which county have won the most?
Grand Crew.
Okay, so
it's easier to discover why, Mr. Gayman,
Right.
since you're asking the question.
Right. You know,
let me tell you what happened.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to Monrovia and the stratification of society,
Mhm.
they were the initial underclass of Monrovia. Everyone else came and met them there. That's why you see you have Crewtown, New Crewtown. Crewtown is West Point. That's what you call West Point. New Crewtown is what we know as New Crewtown today. So, geographically or demographically, these people occupied the honor rungs of the society in Monrovia. They were the store boys. So as a result, they were the hustle people from the ghettos. And what happened with kids from the ghettos? They play sports, Mr. Gayman. They play sports. Sports is a way of expressing and releasing their tension, and relieving themselves of stress in society. That's what they do. They play sports. Kids who don't have anything much to do, they don't have houses that they can be in playing video game or whatever else. So after school, the place they can occupy their time. Even when they're hungry, sometimes they eat dry gari to go play football. So as a result, you find the Wani Botos, the JJ, what he said, Josiah Johnson. I mean, the Toe, the Tappers, all these older guys that most of them are gone today that played for Lone Star in the 70s and even in the 80s. Look at the guys that played for Lone Star in the 80s. Majority of them were Southeasterners. It's just the reality. We're talking about from Grand Bassa going.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is great. This is historical. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about what brings us together. Because one thing that you have to notice, when you are in Grand Bassa or you are in Montserrado, when the county meets come, you don't hear them say, I am Bassa, I am Crew, because in these counties, we have the same ethnic group. Even if you went to Lofa, you will find Bassa people there. They will defend their county to the death. And that's a good thing. So we love to have this conversation. And for the next 2 months, hopefully we can have folks here from a Grand Crew. We can have somebody here from Lofa to come and tell us how they did it to win. Because for Lofa to win, it was a long shot, but it did it. How did they do it? We will want to find out. And I'm going to do as much as I can to reach out to everybody within the different countries to come and talk about their counties, because this is important to us to keep us together. Now, with that being said, we're going to go, we're going to take a minute break for our station to identify itself. When we come back, we are going into the meat of our program. We are going to talk about a shootout in Duala and something else. If we don't have that Focus on Liberia video, we are going to go directly into the current issue. Now, this is something that we all should discuss. I know we don't have the facts, but from what we understand, we can also discuss.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Focus on Liberia's On Point. With me today are some great intellectuals. We have my co-host, Mr. Tulay. We have Mr. Joshua Powell, Sr. We have the cheerleader for mobilization for Grand Bassa County, James Etta Henry. And then also my guest host here, we have Mr. Jimmy Eastman. We are going to now talk about politics. And now, Ms. Henry and Mr. Power, if you are not comfortable with this issue, this is hard-hitting. We are non-partisan here, but we discuss issues that are pertinent to Liberia and current events. It doesn't matter where you come from, we call it as it is. So we want to talk about now the death of, or the shootout in Duala. We saw something on social media that was going live. There was a shootout and several people got killed. And there was a ghetto section of that particular community that were raided. I was surprised that there was an actual city within a city where these people, they had their own barbed wire, they have their own security system. They had a whole society going there. And it was raided, there was gunfire, and somebody, Zogos, got killed. And it has become a national conversation. Mr. Tulay, I want you to chime in on this. I don't have any proof that people that the government hired former rebels, but this is words from the street. I don't have any proof. I'm just saying this because I can't substantiate that, but that's what we are hearing. What says you, Mr. Tulay?
No, it's not. It's not just a common gossip. There are photos of Augustine Nangbe parading or walking or marching with the IG of police and other people. Augustine Nangbe testified at the TRC. In fact, he formed part of that TRC report. All right. It's just that Madam Sedi chose not to act on it because she herself was kind of like indicted by the report, if you put it that way, if that was an indictment. But the reality here is there were issues, and it's not. I would make this clear. Madam Salif decided she was going to ignore that issue, and George Weah have largely ignored the issue. And in life, we know that you don't fix things by ignoring them. Things don't go away because you want to imagine that they are not a problem for you. And this is one of the issues that affects Liberia. There's a gulf between those who are in governance and those who are being governed. The people who are in governance or government, they tend to live in islands of safety and they forget about what affects the general population. I'll give you a common example. No Zogo is going to go to Nathaniel McGill house or any of the senior government officials' house in the night to go and rob, because they have armed guards at their houses at night. But why will our government sit down and allow drug dealers and armed robbers and intermix with these homeless kids to create enclaves in commercial districts? And it remained there. There was one on a Chancellor. When Chancellor was there, in fact, this phenomenon came after the war. Mainly, before the war, let me be honest with you, there were ghetto areas in Monrovia, but it wasn't as bad as this. On a Chancellor, we had what they call Babla. And then there was the Kingray one, there was the West Point one, down Center Street. Then there was the same thing that you saw in Duala. It was there before, but it wasn't as big as it is now. And there have been a proliferation of drug use and drug dependency, and it's a national security issue. What happened that day was these guys went and committed armed robbery, and it's like maybe it was a personal issue. Maybe the person that they affected was close to somebody within that, because that's the only time you can really get any kind of prompt response. So they decided that they were going to take advantage of that situation to raid that ghetto. And these guys, like you said, they created their own security system. They don't want anyone to get arrested. It's like that place is a haven. When they create crime, when they commit crime out there, they run in there, and no police officer is brave enough to go there. It's not that when the police officers go there, they go there to go buy their own drug and take it, but not to go and arrest. So the police officers are aware of who goes there. The police officers are aware of their power structure and everything. It is not supposed to be so. Government shouldn't be allowed. In fact, the citizenry should not allow the existence of such ghettos within their midst. Because I remember, if I will go back quickly, going to King Gray with the police officers to go and raid the ghetto that is there. And I remember going to the leadership of King Gray, and I told them, I said, if you guys keep allowing these criminals to come to go and loot and steal, rob, and come and reside in King Gray, what is happening that I have heard of, and I'm telling you, and you know that's happening, they will impregnate your daughters in the community, and they will leave these children without fathers, and they will go to other ghettos, and they'll go to prison because they don't have roots. And then your children also will end up becoming drug addicts. And just we went to a place with a Gayman, one room, like the maybe 14 by 12 room that I'm in right now. They have about 70 young men in that place taking drugs, Mr. Gayman. In a day, in the middle of the day, hot sun. They shut everything because they didn't want the wind to blow, the drug, whatever they were burning there. They were in that place. They were choked in that place, and it's prevalent. So if we go to Duala, what happened when the police went now to go and say, okay, this time around is enough. We're going to go and arrest somebody. Then they got kicked back. And they went in, and these guys have these small Guinean-made single barrel pistol. That's how they call it. Okay, and they had a trade-off, and the police had to mount strength. Was the police wrong for mounting strength? No. What the police was wrong for doing was indiscriminately shooting, and the reports say they killed 2 civilians and one of the Zogos. So the indiscriminate shooting, you can't start blowing off rounds where there are market people, major market spots, and everything like that. And you know for the way when a bullet leaves the gun, you don't know where it's going to end. Okay, especially when you're having your rifle on automatic, and these guys just shot indiscriminately. And the reason why this thing is cause for concern, as much as the Zogo issue needs to be taken care of, government has no business operating with somebody that Augustine Nangbe, we would call General Powell. That guy and all the guys that he affiliates with, that they are all former rebels, and many of them have committed major atrocities in the past. Why is this government having to do with them? The government got his own PSU force. Okay, they have the ERU and the PSU. Why didn't they go to these guys to come and take care of the situation? Why will you be parading around with someone like General Powell or Augustine Nangbe?
Okay.
Why will you be his people? That's
okay. Thank you, Mr. Tulay. The only female here on this panel, I know she didn't come to talk politics, but this is not politics. This is public policy. For those of you who are into public policy like we do, we eat, live, and sleep public policy. Madam Henry, I know this is not your territory. This is not something that you were brought here to talk about. But as a mother, as a sister, as a female, what can we do to mitigate this? Because what we see in Monrovia here, I know it's also happening in Grand Bassa. It's also happening everywhere around the country. You just talked about it, because what Mr. Tulay talked about, you in your own infinite wisdom took a young man off the street and you thought you were helping him. And you are lucky that he didn't harm you or kill or do anything, but he actually came out to rob. And like the scripture said, they either come to rob, and he who comes to rob has the capacity and propensity to kill and murder and loot. So how do you feel about, because when you're dealing in sports like you are doing, you know that 90% of the people you are going to be dealing with are the underprivileged, just like Mr. Tulay said. What do you see, or what do you foresee, or what do you forecast should be the actual remedy for some of these issues?
I see it from a different perspective. First of all, I regret the lives that were lost. But in situations like these, I think the first thing the government should do should call for a negotiation. Like in America, if there's like it happened right in DC recently, there's a guy who drove to Pennsylvania Avenue and wanted to do whatever he did. The government should have called for negotiation, ask the citizen to vacate the area, because that obviously is a no-go zone. They should come with microphone, loudspeaker, all these things. They should have this equipment in time of situation like this. Give the people time, send somebody to negotiate. If it cannot go, I don't know who open fire. You know, we can say the government open fire or the Zogos open fire because I wasn't there. But I think if they were going to call for negotiation, probably the people were going to listen and no life were going to be lost. But again, if the so-called open fire first, you expect the government to return fire. My only regret is the citizen because I think the motorbike guy, they said he was a surveillant that was just driving him back and he got hit by the stray bullet. You know, so that's the only error I see. But situation like that where people exchange fire with armed official, you expect life to be lost. But the only error from the government side that I see was then not calling for, you know, negotiation and asking the marketeers to evacuate that entire area. They're supposed to block the road from Simple Bridge or wherever as far as Kowa Junction and ask everybody to leave, give time, and see if the guys will turn themselves over. But to just go and, you know, shoot and, you know, a lot of people around, that's the only problem I have. But I know one of the guys that were going down were part of those that went to Europe. So I think for that aspect, we should be employing the government for that.
Okay, Mr. Power, Mr. Tulay, and then Sister Hendricks is talking about negotiation and creating a safe pathway for the citizens, innocent citizens to leave, and then we deal with those guys. Now, the risk to that is we did something similar in Miami here, where the government, somebody called Liberty City, is the ghetto here, where the police decided to do something similar, and the crooks. Somebody, please turn your microphone off. There's somebody in the background. The crooks mingle. The crooks join with the civilians they join the civilian, and the police could not tell who was who. So, Mr. Power, in this case, what do you do when you have you can't basically distinguish anybody like me? You can't look at me whether I'm a drug user. I mean, there's a difference when you see the actual Zogos, they're strung out, but they are those who are the sympathizers, their clientele. Like Mr. Tulay said, some of these people are natural people that go in there for their high. So how do you differentiate a crook or a drug user or Zogos? How do you deal with someone like this without having the crooks to kind of blend in with the regular folks?
Can I interject a little bit before?
No, one minute. Yes, go ahead.
You talk about, so I don't. You say people went there to just get high. Come on, why were a normal man? Why were you? First of all, is violation to sell those products and even to intake them. So if you find yourself in that situation, trust me, you're at the wrong place at the right time. So a person that I get gone down, well, I don't think we should be talking about or holding the government or liable for such incident.
No, what we have said,
it's very easy because the Zogo dress code, the office, the appearance is quite different from those selling in the market. It's not like in America, somebody taking in drugs, you see them in clean clothes and stuff like that. Like our Zogos are way different. They are off. You see them, some of them look like crazy person. So to identify them from the citizens, I don't think that who have been hard for
they look like in America now, man.
Mr. Eastman, same to you here. We have had some government officials caught up in drug dealing, even as far as the U.S. Congress. So they are everywhere. Those that you see at the bottom there, they are not actually the part of the drug economy because they don't make that much money. The people that are actually supplying the drugs and using it, the hardcore drugs, are the very high-end people. We're talking about the upper class people. Could you deal with that? How do we deal with this issue without innocent people being caught in the crossfire?
Thank you. I think, Mr. Gayman, you hit on the crux of the matter. If you really want to combat drugs, you have to go after the kingpins, the suppliers, not the users. Okay, and this story, it touches everybody because the people they're referring to as Zogos disenfranchised youth a lot of times. Young men from 15 to 30, so who maybe don't have a job, maybe never got an education, and it's easy to fall in this zone where people abuse drugs and commit activities to get criminal activities to get money. So there's a humanitarian aspect of this. How can we help those that are prone to jump in this type of life? What can we do to change them? That's one aspect. But the other aspect is we have to enforce. We have to have the strong arm of the law. If the law is bending, if it's not being upheld, then you will not have anybody respecting it. So this is not new, Mr. Gayman. Anytime Christmas is coming around, the police are known to go and start rounding up some well-known criminals because they know they're going to wreak havoc on shoppers and whatnot during the Christmas season. So every year, back in the day, we used to see them go and pick up some of these criminals and then raid some of these centers, these ghettos. We have one place called Terminal Island, and you couldn't go there, and several places like this. We want the policemen to do their job, but we don't want them to do it indiscriminately. For instance, having a person shot. We don't know the facts on the ground. We only have a report from Front Page Africa, seeing that the 3 people that were killed. One was a Zogo, the other 2 were commuters, and it was only the police that were firing. I don't think it's very fair for us to just blame our law enforcement because we need law enforcement. Without law enforcement, our security is threatened. We have to examine this and go at it with a humanitarian objective to save those who are falling in this, but also with the strong arm that the law must be upheld. I know you don't have a job. I know you probably didn't get a good education. At the same time, you will not go rob somebody, threaten somebody, and before you get your livelihood. We can't have that happening.
Okay.
So it's a difficult challenge, but communities need to come together, and these things explain how can we deal with it together. This is not one person. This is all our problem, And I think we should get communities, leaders involved on how we can attack this way.
Yeah,
I need to establish something before we go forward. Let me just say something before we go forward.
Go ahead.
One of the problems with Liberia, Mr. Eastman, is we talked about this, my late political mentor. We always spoke about it because he was a constitutional lawyer and he knew the law. And he always said one of the problems with Liberia is that we don't have strong laws on the book. We don't have strong laws to deal with drug possession. The drug dealing. The drug dealing laws are very weak. So what we are saying, the laws need to be amended to our current realities, to fit our current realities. But even if you amend the laws, with the same corruption we're talking about, Mr. Eastman, if you go to Central Prison and you find 1,000 persons there, I can bet you on any given day, 750 to 800 of them will not be people who have been found guilty of any crime. The majority, the overwhelming, almost 3/4 of the population of Central Prison right now, if you're going to ask, I haven't been in Liberia 7 years, but I can tell you, if you went there now and found out, you'll find out that the vast majority of the detainees over there, they are pre-trial detainees, and some of them have not even seen inside of a court from the very first day they went to city court. They went to city court and they arraigned them and sent them to South Beach. Nobody ever carried them back to court. I've seen murder cases, bro, not being heard for 3.5 years. When the law says, I think it's either 2 terms of court. After 2 terms of court, the case is vacated. So the murder victim, the murderer who actually committed the murder in the presence of people, never got to see the inside of a court, so that they would find him guilty of the thing that he did. Everybody saw he killed a man on Garden Street at the drinking spot. The man is in jail and he never gets to go to court. So the 2 years court term passes, and the law says that the man should be free because the case should be vacated because it wasn't adjudicated for two terms of court, 2 or 3 terms of court. So what I'm saying is, to fix Liberia, people say you want to condemn. We're not condemning. But Mr. Eastman, how it can be that everywhere we look in our body politics, everywhere we look in our system, there is some rot there that nobody wants to take care of. This Zogo thing, you can't fix it without first, like you said, dealing with those who bring in the drugs into the country. Charles did something when he was president. He rounded up all the drug dealers. More than 60% of them were foreigners from a particular country. Okay, he rounded all of them. They were at the police station. They were in jail for more than 1 month or so. Women, all the kind of women, bleach women, they were there during that time. They free all of them. Nothing came out of it because we don't have laws on the books to hold these people and put them there. And even if we want to do that, look at the legal system, look at the lawyers. We have so many lawyers in Liberia. Why can't our justice system be able to hold people accountable? The Solicitor General, the County Attorneys, the judges, put people in jail. And then to the jail issue before I turn it over to Mr. Powell. We cannot keep people at Central Prison or any of our prisons in Liberia. It's a human rights violation. To keep people at Central Prison is a human rights violation. I said they didn't commit crime. Even if you find them guilty, to put them over there is a human rights violation. The unsanitary condition, the heat, it's not right. So we have to fix Liberia. That's my point. And when you want to fix it, not just going after the Zogos, but you have to, you got to go at every level. It's broken. It's the reality.
Mr. Powell, are you in Liberia or are you in the United States?
I'm right in Ohio.
Okay, you're in Ohio. Now, I know you have contact in Bassa. You go to Buchanan. Like I was just there in March. I came back. We have the same issues in Monrovia, in Bassa. We have the armed robbery. We got the Zogos. We got the break-ins. How does the police in Bassa deal with these kinds of stuff? Or what happened in Duala?
So let me say this. The fact should be established that we created this problem and we need to solve this problem. But that means we brought war, we agreed to the war. These kids, they were 10 years old, 7 years old, and we gave them gun, and the war is over. But what have we done for them to get them off the street? So it is a long-lasting problem if we don't solve it. Back in the days when I was in Liberia, I used to help these guys on the street. There was this particular Bassa guy in Raleigh, and he said, "My man, I'm tired of being in the street. I want to go back home." I said, "How much do you need?" He called the amount. He said, "You want to go make it fine." I gave the gentleman the money, and he only left the street for 2 weeks. He said he went back home, and everybody saw him like an animal. Nobody had time for him. So the society is not doing what it's supposed to do to get these people.
A baby is crying in the back. I don't know who.
I think it's.
Can you mute it? Can you mute it in the middle?
Joshua, baby.
Joshua, put your. Okay, Mr. Mom, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So we need to do more than what we're doing. Killing them is not a solution.
No.
Killing them is not a solution. Like what Chief Edgar said, that operation should have been very, very smooth.
Yeah.
Barricade the whole area.
Yeah.
Barricade the area. Carry your microphone. Tell me we are here. Nobody come. Everybody single file come out. Barricade that whole area.
Bring enough men.
Right. Those guys. Matter of fact, you have the AF. If anybody hear about AF in Liberia, I don't care how you can be high, they will be straight. The long line. Nobody can disrespect AFL. You tell the guys that we have ASL personnel and more us. All you need to do is put your hands on and come out. They were going to come. In regards to the rebel general who went there, I'm thinking in what capacity did he go there? And he go there to negotiate because he also was ex-rebel, and this guy understand the language and he able to persuade them to get out of the place. What did he go to do there? Is he on a government contract to be able to de-escalate the situation? I don't know why he went there. So now this boiled down to the lawmaker. This man should be called for questioning. What carried him there?
Excellent. Excellent. Now we're going to go into a little break where we will read some comments. When we come back, we are going to go back into Mary Broh being conscripted into coming back into being a quasi-city mayor. She's now cleaning the city. She's doing all of those things that the city mayor is supposed to do, all that the city ordinance is supposed to do. Is she in the right spot? Was Jefferson Koijee right to tap into a resource that he knows works? We will deal into that. Let's see. We have some comments. Tulay, will you read some of the comments, please, when they come up?
We need to find first is if Anthony is on. Okay, let's
just go into our next round because he's in London. We are multitasking here. One is in London, one is in Canada, one is in Florida, and we're making it work. And then somebody is in the Baltimore area, and then Ohio, Philadelphia. Beautiful. We're having a great time. Now let's go into the city mayor thing. Lately, let me give you a little backdrop about the whole thing. This whole thing came about when the ambassador from Europe made a comment that Liberia, Monrovia in particular, is the dirtiest city that he has ever visited on the continent, particularly West Africa. That particular comment rubbed us the wrong way. I saw the former president. I saw everybody kind of whipped into a frenzy. I want to believe we now have a major event coming up called the Bicentennial Return, the Year of the Return. It starts on the 19th of this month, December 19th, and it goes to December 19th, 2022. So we're going to have a whole year of events. In fact, I knew a flight that just went to Liberia, a charter flight. 300 folks went in there to begin the festival next month. So with all of this pressure, was it right for Mr. Jefferson Koijee to call the former city mayor? As you can see, she has the whole media in tow. She has social media, she has the print media, you name it. She has it, and her new name now is General Broh. And the people that she's actually, I would say, maybe harassing, they are the one in the street saying, "We want Broh, we want Broh." And I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, you build these things on the street, these stores on the street, and the woman is knocking that down, and then you cheering her on. Mr. Tulay, help me out here. I'm discombobulated here.
And I pray we can have one of our guys so we can have call us, or people we can go through the comments. Mm-hmm. But the reality on the ground is Liberians are longing for change. They will hail anybody who is an implementer, who can implement and who can carry out plans. Anybody. Do they fully agree with all Mary Broh antics and all her tactics and all her procedures? No. But the fact is she gets results. That's how Liberians are crazy for people who can deliver so they can hail you as national champion. Forever, Mary Broh has cemented her legacy among Liberians. That in the midst of all the difficulties, she's able to come and she's able to go to the places where no cute person wants to go. Her predecessor before her wouldn't go down around the street to ensure that the front end loaders clean up the trash that is down around the street. Her predecessor wouldn't go there. Mary Broh would. She ain't afraid of the dirt. She ain't afraid of the mess. But to the overarching issue here, you have a young man who is all mouth to me and no substance. Just want to wear Gucci and more and Louis Vuitton belts and crazy suits without. I'll tell you something, Mr. Gayman. I said it last time to you here. The Monrovia City Corporation brings in a lot of money and they report to no one, Mr. Eastman. They report to no one. Even from the parking tickets in town, they get a portion of that parking ticket money. Nobody knows where it goes. They have no city corporation. We're talking about board, okay, that they have to report to. They ain't got any budget that they they don't have any budget that we can identify with, that they have a budget that they can post and cast every time for us to see what is the city budget, what issues have they prioritized. Since Koijee came as something, he has failed miserably in keeping the city clean. There are places people throw dirt. It's easy as ABC 123 to get trucks, front and loader, go to these places once a week and take the dirt from there. That's just it. Since we're not collecting garbage from homes, we're not collecting these things from homes. So they have places people throw their trash just to go there with a couple of trucks and front end loader. Do it at night when the roads are open, so the trucks don't stay long in traffic burning fuel. And clean these places. Get floodlights or whatever, and clean these places at night. That's all you need to do. And then try and encourage the citizenry to come outside and clean the city. That's not from the national level. President declared every once a month, or go, let's get outside, let's clean the city. What is so hard? If Mayor Broh can do it, anybody can do it. So for me, it's an abdication of duty, all right? It's the sign of gross incompetence by that young man to bring the woman back from GSA to come help him and be the face of cleaning the city. Why can't he be the face? And guess what? He can't be the face of cleaning the city, but he can be the face of the government at the fracas in Duala, where innocent bystanders were killed because the police do not follow standard operating procedure, like my sister was talking about. How will you go into a charged area, a highly populated area, without, and you have a standoff? Clear the citizenry from in a place before you engage. Nothing. He was there, but he can't go to be the face of cleaning the city. So for me, if you ask me, it's failure on their part. Okay, and kudos to Mayor Broh for what she's doing for us again.
Let's go to before we come back.
Let me come in 1 minute, Mr. Gayman, if you don't mind.
One minute. I want you to look at this from this context, Mr. Eastman. We are talking about delegation of authority and power. We are talking about someone who saw a resource, an opportunity, and used it to his advantage. We also have to understand that you have this particular problem of dirt in Liberia. It is a national, once he talked about national security issue, which I think it is. First of all, even when we collect the dirt, do we have a waste management system? I don't think so.
But I have people talk to them.
No, listen to this. And when we talk about this, then people think that you are being sarcastic, but we talk about since 1847, right? You go to Grand Bassa County, my hometown, we don't have a dump site. We don't have a waste management. We say dump pile. They just take the dirt from anywhere and just throw it somewhere. Whether it has an environmental impact, no one cares. No one knows. Same thing in Monrovia. We also have to look at city planning.
Mr. Gayman, sorry, Mr. Gayman. I told you before that there is one in Monrovia. The problem here, before the war, it was far away from dwellings. Mr. Eastman, the one that is in Wentown, was far away from dwellings before the war. The fact is, homes have grown to that place. So the government needs to shut it down like they do in the States and move it to a new site. But it's still there, it's still operating.
But this is why we talk about city planning. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, I think we need to drop this from since 1847 excuse. It's a tired excuse because what happened in 1847 is not what's happening now. we cannot continually use this excuse. We need to get away from it. If you can't do the job, don't take the job. Okay, but don't blame anybody else. But the war, you brought up a key issue there, Brother Gayman. The war crippled a lot of facilities, systems in Liberia. And sometimes when you have an emergency situation, you employ emergency tactics. What Broh is doing is what you do in emergency, in crisis. That's when you get that kind of action. But to make this sustainable, we need a system. We need systems that will work. And systems have to be thought about. And sometimes you need expertise to plan it out and then to implement it. We cannot be doing, a lot of people still don't even look at, when they do the traffic light, they go through the traffic light. Because during the war, people got used to not having traffic lights. But now, this is the challenge now. How do you, after years and years of civil civil conflict where people do whatever, how do you now start bringing the system back in? We talked the other day, there were questions about the budget. That budget, those budget appropriations are supposed to address these things that you find very important to society. Yeah. So if you think the problem of Zogos is being expanded, then you shall have an appropriation there to address drug enforcement and rehabilitation. If you think sanitation in the city is an issue, there should be a budget to address that. These are when you look at how we spend our money. Spending our money is one thing. It shows what you are targeting.
Yes, your priorities.
But implementation is a whole other discussion. But let's just look at how we plan to start spending our money. That will show where our priorities are. And if it's not in medicine, if it's not in healthcare, if it's not in education, if it's not in rehabilitation, then you have to wonder, what are you prioritizing? And this will make the difference. So, yes, I agree, Jeff should go call Broh. But, Jeff, you're going to need a system that's going to get this job done always, every month, month by month, year by year. You will need a system. This emergency work is not perpetual. You need a system. And that applies to everything in our country. We need systems. We cannot keep on operating like we just recovered from a war.
Thank you very much. One of the things that we need to look at before we go to comments, when I was there, we talked about waste management, and they asked me if I could be of some help for that, and I agree. And I came over here and got Waste Pro and all of these people who are major waste management system. And they went to Liberia and looked at what they need and did a needs assessment. And they looked at the budget from the city hall was $300,000. And the guy looked at me and laughed and said, a city of 1.5 million, basically 1.5 million. With the trash disposable and the sanitation issue, they are talking about a major waste management system that will cost nothing under $3 million. So the Liberian government needs to now engage the international community to invest into actually building a waste management system that works just like here. Don't say we are not America, we can't compare to America. No, but if you do it right the first time, it will last. They give you 50-year guarantee. That's something that you can invest in. $3 million over 50 years. To me, that's something but that's for another day. Let's go to comments here. Mr. Sia, if you are there, can you please put up the comments?
All right, Sam Wallow. The war has been over for 18 years, Jimmy and Jerome. That is also an excuse. Hamilton Zibi. The war has been over for 18 years, but we are reaping the consequences of it. Until we intentionally deal with the root causes, we'll continue to experience these problems.
Well,
All right. Okay. Okay. No, Jeff. Doesn't need to call Broh. He must resign. But must resign. The call of Broh is an admission of his gross ineptitude. That's Moses Sumo Keto. All right. Noel Brown. Rwanda has had a war too, right? Look at Rwanda today. Rwanda is one of Africa's best run clean countries in the world. Corruption and don't care politicians. The Broh experiment did not solve Liberia's problem or sanitation problems in the past and will not solve them now. Here, efforts are neither effective nor sustainable. It is temporary, feel good effort. Sam Wallow. Noah Brown again, but the truth is the truth. I was in Liberia coming from the Caribbean. I was shocked to see the state conditions of Liberia. The government officials should be ashamed. It is dirty. Why clean it? Why clean now? Kama Mulaba. A sponsored data collection research could review root causes at the heart of the Soho problem. Uh, Data collection, analysis, and interpretation will be helpful. It can be done. All is not lost. Masa.
In 1 minute, 1 minute, Brother Tulay. Kama brings up an excellent point. He's a data scientist. I know Dr. Kama were all in school together in engineering. Part of solving the problems is to collect data. You have to know what is going on in the country. If you can't just wing it. You know, a lot of times we want to solve a problem and we just say, let's do this. No. Let's study the problem. Pull the data from. It has to be professionally done. The same thing you were saying, Brother Tulay. It has to be. You need professionals. Get the experts you need to help you do this. But as long as you're not addressing the problem in a professional manner, it will persist. It will always persist because it takes scientific ways of doing things to rectify a certain type of problem. So, common point is really important.
Okay, we'll read further. Master Kolako Jr., that's my younger brother. If you can't have a trained law enforcement officer, you can't control the youth that are out of hand. The training in terms of social, psychosocial, whatever. Yes, you have a point. One more comment, then we can go back. Sam Wallow again. How successful was that unification strategy, Jerome? It has never worked and continues not to work. You can't get to unity by speaking it into existence. You must behave your way into unification. Wow, that's a good point. Augustus Bailey. I agree with the last speaker. The county meet or county league should be a national soccer association. That association should be headed by a commissioner. This, in my opinion, will cut corruption and enhance professionalism among the players, which I believe could produce another George Weah. Brilliant idea to make the county meet a national league. Stanley. The corruption aspect is what making coaches to pick the wrong players. I think we need to go back to our discussion. Okay, this is about me. You condemn everything about your country only because God has blessed you. When you were with King FM, was your only breadwinning means you didn't know that this president was not good enough. Watch him. I will address this before I go anywhere because I know the person who commented and he's lying. When I was with Kings, you can ask everybody who Alexander Bieda or whoever was there. I never collected a dime the full 5 years I was with King as salary from Kings FM. George Weah didn't even have money to pay the staff, talk less of paying me. I used my money to make sure there was water in the bathroom to flush the camo and make sure that I bought food for people to eat for lunch in that place, and I took care of things there from my pocket. So get your facts straight. Go ask the people then who were there. Go ask your friends.
But
not one cent. I was not on salary.
Yeah, but George Tulay, this also says about when we talk about competence. This also says a lot about you. You ran the station for.
I wasn't running the station.
You ran the country. You worked.
No, Jerome, don't jump. No, I wasn't running the station. Alexander Biere,
what were you doing there for 4 years?
Yeah, hold on. When you start saying something that is wrong, I will cut you off and.
I want to correct you. Go ahead. What were your portfolio?
Hold on now. I wasn't station manager. Alexander Biere was station manager. When he left, Ambassador, we are appointed Chancellor sister, and then from there, Yeke, whatever his name is, the Yeke guy who is at least now to look after the station. I wasn't part of his crew, so I couldn't.
So what was your portfolio?
Ask a question.
What was your portfolio?
I was a presenter. I ran the morning show, the George Kanneh to the exclusive of the show. Talk about it. That was what I came there to do on a daily basis. I came to the station. I ran the morning show from 7 to 10. When I was there, I never collected. I'm saying it here. George Weah and none of the people can tell you they pay me 5 cents. I never collected a dime in salary for almost 5+ years. I'm just saying the truth here to you. So don't accuse me of incompetence.
But I mean that's for me. I would not stay on a job for 4 years without being paid.
But I wasn't there for pay. Let's move. I wasn't on the job, Mr. Gayman. Hold on. Mr. Gayman.
Let's go to River.
I will come back to correct you.
Let's go to River.
What are you doing again? Because I criticized George Weah, you coming again to come and defend and want to impugn my character.
I'm going to ask you. These are questions as a manager. I'm asking you. For 4 years, you worked for me. You never got paid, and you were still there.
I wasn't there for pay. I saw the system could not even pay those who were there. But guess what? I was at Kings FM, and Manasering people chased me from there. They told hold on. You asked a question. Let me answer you. They told the people they didn't want me on the air. And the guy who was running a business, he wanted a contract from government. So he asked me to step down. Kings FM, from Hot FM, I went to Kings FM. On King FM, nobody would follow me there. So I was using it as a platform to get my views across. I wasn't there because I wanted money from them. Alexander Biere, they didn't bring me there to say, okay, I'm bringing you and I'll pay you this. They didn't even buy my gas on my car.
Okay.
So I was there. Listen, I'm just telling you today.
No, George, let's go to the comments.
Okay, let's go to the comments.
Let's go back to the previous comments.
Batun Kula.
Let's go to the one before this.
No, I'll read this first.
Okay, there you go. Go ahead. Read that one.
Batun Kula, Dr. Kula. Why do we not have proper waste management like is done in most countries in the world? Where are the garbage trucks and the garbage collectors instead of having Broh walking around with a rotten? It's so backwards. It's just real. Okay, River says pro. Una Samuel Kedo promoted football in Liberia. Tottenham and the rest didn't like football. They consider it a barbaric sport. I don't know why we would celebrate this useless holiday. Flomo Livingston. The city's government is incompetent. All right, it's okay. Let's
okay,
move forward.
So let's.
Mr. Gayman, can I say something? Mr. Gayman, can I say something?
Yes,
Mr. Gayman.
Yeah.
When I come on air here, like I did in Liberia to Madam Salif, I'm a Liberia first person. I think you've seen it. I don't care who is where. The system has to work in a particular place. One thing I will not do is for somebody to come here and impugn my character. And when I say things here, they can be corroborated. You have Cyrus McGee on Cyrus McGee is on Facebook. You have Prince Michael, who was head of television on Facebook. Go and ask them. I didn't collect money from George Weah or anything. No.
You made your point. You made your point.
Because guess what? When I say something about your character, I will give you a chance to defend yourself. I won't cut you off. I won't cut you off, Mr. Gayman.
You have addressed the issue.
No. I'm addressing it again because guess what? When I was talking, you came in again. You were cutting me off again the same way.
Have said it.
The reason why I came back
was very simple.
Please, the reason why I came back to say it again is this. George Weah is a public figure. I have every right to criticize whatever McGill or Jefferson Koijee. Like one of the comments said, Koijee should resign because he's been at the city hall now for 4 years. He has never put forth a plan to keep the city clean. Talk less of funding the plan. Just come forth with a plan. Are you telling me that they don't have enough waste management or EPA people that can help him carve out a national or plan for the metropolis?
Mr. Tulay, let me go back to the comment here. First of all, for those of us who are into public policy, we know that collecting garbage is not only by collecting garbage. First of all, 2 years ago, you saw the Islamic school got on fire and the children burned to death. Why did the children burn to death when we had the fire brigade few feet away? Well, because of city planning, because of the lack of, the fire trucks could not get to those children and they burned to death. The collection of garbage in Liberia has a lot to do with city planning. People are building all over the place. I own a place in Tinga Village. When I bought my place and I was building, I had easy access. In March, when I went to Tinga Village, I could not get to my house because people have built everywhere. They have no city planning, they have no zoning, there's nothing of that nature. How do people in Tinga Village in the back there bring the dirt to a place to be collected? If we have garbage truck, I have no clue. So back to what Dr. Kula was saying, if other countries have it, why we don't have it? And that question remains the
cross. Mr. Eastman, hey, Mr. Eastman, or my sister tell you why we don't have it. That question, because we have a panel here, so let them contribute. Why don't we have? Why don't we have a waste management system? What are their views?
Let me go to my sister here. I know she lives in Philadelphia. It's a very big and crowded city, but at least they have a system, and she's seeing how it works. They pick up the garbage truck, do not go between houses in crevices. The garbage truck, you bring your stuff on the main road, the garbage truck comes and picks it up, takes it away. Do we have something similar in Liberia where the garbage truck can drive through and pick up garbage? I don't think so. Ms. Henrys, is it Mrs. or Ms. Henrys? I think she's muted.
Okay, you have me on mute. No, I'm good now. You muted my mic. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can hear you. Did you hear the question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, I heard a question you were asking about the system. I think the problem is like Monrovia or Monrovia is overpopulated. I think we have those systems in place. The problem is implementing them. You talk about residents putting the garbage on the streets, they pick it up. We don't even have for alley. People have their own all the alleys in Liberia, in Monrovia. So where will we put the garbage? Somebody back. You know, so it's just kind of hard that I don't know how to put it, but it is just stuff for Monrovia. We got to start from all over. Let's forget about the war. If it did not happen before the war, we can still make it happen. If the system is in place, let's sit on the drawing board and discuss how we can implement the system. And for Jefferson Koijee called me, bro, I don't think it's a bad thing. Whether it's an emergency situation or it's a long-term situation, the fact remains the place was dirty and she came and she gave her help as she been doing, you know, in the past. If Jefferson is not working well, fine, we accept it. But I think there was a time that he make every stores to pin the gates, red, white, and blue. And I was in Liberia that time. The place was clean, they wash the street. So they have those equipment. Because I witnessed them washing the street, water street between Gary and Randall. I was there. They washed the street, they painted all the doors red, white, and blue. But after a couple of months, it went back to the same old thing. So we really need to sit on the round table and discuss what actually the problem is and see how best we can solve them instead of criticizing. For me, I don't have a problem with people criticizing criticizing, but if you are criticizing, what are you putting in place? What mechanism are you putting in place to solve these problems? Don't just criticize and sit over the fence. You should try to bring something, some solution that can solve the problem.
Thank you. I'm hearing here from management that we got about 7 more minutes, so we're going to go to closing. While by 6 o'clock, we have another show coming on. Mr. Tulay, closing, please.
No, Mr. Eastman, they haven't spoken yet, so let them go ahead.
Yeah, well, they were okay. Mr. Eastman, go ahead with your closing.
Okay. I like the question. Why don't we have a system now to collect garbage? And that can be asked about many things that are not working. And I'm not seeing this as an excuse, but we have to make up our minds that we are not in war anymore, and certain conditions are no longer acceptable. It is not acceptable that the garbage is handled this way. It is not acceptable that we still don't have running water. It's not acceptable that we can't even put distribution line to have power. We have to come to the point that is not acceptable. We need to do better, and we can do better. Liberians have done better than this. What it will require? It will require leadership. It requires a plan. It requires study, and it will require professionalism. And I want to include this word professionalism in all things. As a professional, you learn to do things a certain way, so that you have lasting results. You have your results will be effective and also lasting. Doing it any other way, unprofessionally, will not give you the results you need. So if we decide, we make up our minds, we can do it, but let's refuse to be mediocre. Let's refuse to have the conditions like this, like it's normal. It's not normal. Let's refuse it, and let's start putting our expertise to work so that we can have different results. But we are Liberians. We have achieved greatness before. We were leaders before, and we can be leaders again. But we will have to not accept mediocrity.
Thank you very much. Mr. Powell, no, excuse me. We got Miss Henry. Are you Mrs. or Miss?
Henry says Miss.
Okay, Miss Henry,
Miss
go
Henry.
ahead. Your closing statement, please.
My closing statement is to reassure all Brazilians of the upcoming Kanneh meet that we are going to be victorious. The record are there. We did it 1990, we did it 2014, we did it 2016. Our guys carried it, I think, 4 times in a row, and we're going to do it again. I want to encourage everybody, whether you are in the diaspora, it don't matter which country you are in Liberia. We want you to give your support to the team. You don't have to be in Liberia to support the team. We'll be selling t-shirts, we'll be selling jerseys, we'll be collecting voluntary contribution. You can support the team and even share them on social media. Right now, I took the initiative to do a support banner for the county for all fans and supporters. You send me your picture, I will design it. I support Grand Bassa for the 2021-2022 county meet, and you post it on your page. We try to win social media before getting on the playing page and win everybody in our zone and come to Monrovia and take the trophy. So be courageous. Let encourage the boys. Let give them encouraging words and see how best we can come up with flying colors so that the southeasterner name can rest a little bit. Because keep giving them credit that they don't deserve, as Joshua said. So if you honor my voice, you're a fan of sports, fan of Grand Bassa County, I want to tell you to come up for this year county media, support the team whichever way possible so that we can become victorious. Thank you so much for having me on here tonight, Mr. Gayman. I appreciate the time so much.
Thank you. Mr. Powell.
What's up? So let me close on this note. waste management, LEC, water and sewer, this problem can be solved very easily if we put system in place. Number one, prioritize all of these agencies, give it to private companies. Let the government be the M&E officer. Let the government monitor these private entities. Let them report to government. If we do that, it will be very easy. You gave the company, you gave Mr. Gayman Waste Management Company deal with Painesville. Tulay Company deal with Central Monrovia. All government do is monitor all of their activities, and all the noise will come to an end. The calling of Mary Broh, yes, I think it's a good thing because everybody have some level of charismatic. Maybe that is just her area. The same people that you're taking on the street, the same people were applauding her. That means they know that they are doing something wrong, but they know that she's also doing the right thing by getting all of those things, all of the people. I think Jefferson, and I also think it's another political strategy. Jefferson Koijee don't want to be blamed by his people. So the best thing is, you know what? I don't want to be the one damaging partisan or whosoever property. Let's put Mary Broh in the front so that I don't take the blame. I think that's another political strategy. I also want to close on the note of the county meet should be a national league. Not only will it bring food to the table of our young men, it will also give the league a zeal and more attention, and will have a county-based player that will be able to put food on their table, on the land of Zogos. We created this problem. We must solve this problem. Mental issue is a serious problem. All these drugs addicted children, we created the problem. We have to solve them. We have to put things together. The government, the citizen, church, everybody must solve the problem. Other than that, we will still live in the same thing. I hope and wish Grand Bassa County the best. We are doing all we can do to raise funds, but we also depend on the county and the player to also play their part. Thank you very, very much.
Brother Tulay?
Yeah, we've come to the end of another day again. Like, I want everybody to know that we don't just want to criticize government, but my point here is this: if you really clamor for something, the CDC government was in the wings for 12 years. They really wanted this position to lead government. Didn't they sit and think about what it involved, what it entailed to lead, to come to the hem of things? The truth about it is that your excuses are not acceptable. That's just it. Because you want it. If you're a leader, you're a leader. If you're a manager, you're a manager. You either can do the job or you are incompetent, step aside. That is my point. All right. Because if you want something, and the truth is, Liberians and Liberia is hurting because of incompetence, because of malfeasance, because of their lack of the ability to perform the job. And I said it then, and I'm saying it now. Before George Weah was elected, I told Liberians, I said, when you elect him, you're going to elect somebody who lacks the intellectual capacity to run Liberia. And we see it on a daily basis. He's not even able to make changes. Any coach in the middle of the game will be able to move, shuffle things around to get the best result. But he's not doing that. And the reality here is, Liberians, we are in for a long haul. We'll still be having the conversation by 2023, because I don't see the thing that will make the change is getting the right people and then developing the right plan of action. When you get the right people, you develop the right plan of action, and you budget for it, then you can be able to, you're on the way now of resolving these issues. Monrovia will never get clean with these stopgap actions. Right after Mary Broh goes back to GSA, people will throw the dirt, and then the city will be unable again to pick the dirt off from the street. The first thing we need to do before we even say planning anything, finding ways to get trucks and front-end loaders to just clean the major dump sites in the city. When we start with that, then we can start putting city ordinances in place. So for me, I don't see it, because these guys, they don't want to sit down and do the work. No, they want to go around and get people say, Jawea. That's what they're interested in hearing. So we here. We'll be back again, Mr. Ismail. I can tell you, 1 year from now, you and myself will sit on this scene. Shall I remind you we had this conversation. We'll be back to square one again next content meet. And at the end of the bicentennial, Monrovia will not be clean. Systems will not be in place. Everything will be stopgap for the show of it and not for real implementation with long-term goals in mind.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. In my closing, there was a young man that came out of Liberia a few years ago. I never heard of him, but I listened to him speaking. He was Representative Tanapole. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. Mr. Tanapole stood in the wells of the house and said, we have tried everything from the PhD, the most educated of the group, from the early time, everybody have come and we cannot solve these issues. He said, I suggest we start anew. He said, I would suggest that we build a new capital city and use Monrovia as a commercial city. In that way, we are going to have our cities cut into blocks, into zones, and we're going to start anew. Monrovia was built for 250,000 people. It now has 1.5 million people. There's no way under this earth that a water system that was built for 250,000 people is operating at almost 500% capacity. It's impossible. It's not going to work. So maybe it is time, and I know Mr. Tulay wouldn't like this because he doesn't like to hear anything about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. One of the things she said, and she was very good at the phrases, even though she didn't implement them. She said, if your dream is not big enough, or if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. That means we are not dreaming big. I think Liberia, this is the time for us to dream big. If we are going to say, listen, we cannot do the stopgap, we cannot do these things anymore, this city cannot actually host 1.5 million people, maybe it's time for us to start thinking about doing the Abuja thing. Move the city from Lagos to Abuja, start anew. And maybe then we will put some of these things in place. But as it stands, it is almost impossible for us to keep patching this one old city that have been there this long. And for those of you who are out here sending your comment, we appreciate you. We say thank you very much. We all have one thing in common, and it's our country. Now, you guys were beating up on me because I keep praising the people from the Southeast, Southtown and Crew Coast and Sano County for being the powerhouse of sports. That is the fact. We cannot take that away from the Southeast. And Mr. C.A., please come to my aid here. Tomorrow, let's get on the phone and call our folks from the Southeast. I'm a Southeast supporter. Let's call. There you go. There you go. That's the heavyweight from Southtown and Grand Crew. We want these folks. How come they have been so dominant and everybody's jealous of you? Tell me something before I go closing.
Mr. Gayman, the thing they call football, we the Southeasterner in our DNA. And especially for us from Southtown. I know Tulay feeling we're closing, he's going to jump in here.
Well, you can't. You're not part of the program. If I you can't have a talk.
So the thing with the Southtown people is in our DNA.
That's right.
We produce the world best.
That's right.
No other town in Liberia can produce world best in the next 100 years. No time might even be able to produce one.
It would never happen.
And we, the Southtown people, still have professional playing in Europe.
Who that?
Well, I don't want to call names, but I know my son. My son is a professional right now.
That's right. That's right. I just saw him score a goal.
Yeah.
Your son?
Yes.
Son.
One of the most spectacular goals this season.
You don't know?
Yes.
No.
Oh, I have a Southtown boy who is magical when it comes to moving the
ball. Who he playing for?
Yes. And Timothy, we are just scored a winning goal for the United States last week.
You want me to show you? I thought it was. Want me to show you a goal for my son?
No, I just want to know his name so I can check him out.
Please show that clip again. I showed it. I had it earlier. Let them see it.
What country he plays in?
No, he's in high school.
He's in high school,
He's
but he's a
inside high
prospect.
school, so
He's a prospect. You
we
should
are
see this
hopeful
kid.
that he's gonna get there.
He's gonna get there. The academy is
He's
good.
gonna
Watch
get
this
there.
go, this kid. Watch this go, this school.
The kid is good. Tulay, just give me a moment. Let me show you that video.
See
We
it,
have a
don't
video
say
coming
anything.
up.
Let me defend the Southeast.
Oh, Mr. Gayman,
Let
let me talk.
Let me defend the Southeast. These guys are good.
All right,
Mr.
just watch 1 minute. Watch 1 minute.
Vince Caparelli looking at it. Will he shoot? He sure will. 20 yards out. He hits a net. Tickles the twine. Just so nice. Oh, my Lanta. Vince is not known as a shooter, and in fact, last game he passed one up inside the 18. He worked all week putting it on the frame. He settles it. He looks at the frame. He drills it to the left-hand corner. Not quite getting the possession that Egan should get, but oh my goodness, Derek Sy breaking through. He is through. He's through the splits. He drops it back, right-footed, off the post and goal. Thank you, Derek Sy, and the best celebration in the state. Oh my.
Blaze, leading scorer on the year. Abner Philippos has also.
What a blast!
I did not see that coming.
Tulay, that Peking is from Southtown. That's my son.
That's good. No, listen. Hey, don't make it look like I said he can play. There are a lot of other kids from different places in Liberia that are already playing farm football. The good thing about it is you showing.
No fine got soccer people. No fine got soccer people.
Anthony. On Broad Street, all right. There was a place right by that old cinema, I think, Walker Cinema or whatever. On Broad Street, opposite where DHL got their office now, there was a hole on the road there. Anthony, the football, the talent, those kids, when we came from work, people would stand over there for hours and forget that they're supposed to go home to watch those kids play. But the fact is, we have not created a system to capture those talents and nurture it so that it can benefit us nationally. That's the problem.
It's right in the hole there.
Yeah. Look, Anthony, the football the kids will play. I'm talking about the tiny, tight, 11, 12-year-old. When you see some of them, there was a kid I saw one time, I think if you put just three balls, he height, playing among big men, and it's very small pitch, controlling the football in a way that everyone was proud. But we don't have a system to capture these talents and harness it for national growth. So they are
getting there. But I'm saying to you, I'm from Bassa, and I want to give. I lived my whole life cheering and enjoying soccer from Southtown and Crew Coast territory before it became Grand Crew.
When you left America, Liberia was small, man, Mr. Gayman. Let people
and those guys dominated the sport. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was nice talking to you guys. And listen to this. This station, if you love it, we are asking you to make your annual donation. Christmas is coming. Listen, it takes a lot of work. What do you guys do? When you turn the radio, when you turn the station on, we are here, but we don't know how it works. To keep the lights going, to do what you folks do 24/7, it deserves our support. As Liberians, we do not support our own. And one of the things the Republicans always say, and I love, if you don't support, but you just enjoy the sweat of other people, you are a freeloader. And I don't think we should always be a freeloader. What people don't pay for, they don't appreciate. Please, at the end of the year, make a handsome contribution, either monthly or annually when you do your taxes, towards our folks here on Point, or Focus on Liberia, our parent company, so the guys can keep doing what they are doing. They are the best at what they do. They are not all about gossip. It's all about journalism. You see Mr. Tulay here. He's a media guy, knows his stuff. You see Mr. Eastman here. He's an engineer that brings professionalism to the table. And everybody that we bring here brings something to the table. This is not a Jerry Springer show. So to keep this going, please make your contribution to Focus on Liberia. Until then, we see you next Sunday, same time, 4 o'clock. Let's discuss issues affecting Liberia. And always we'll say, we are all Liberians, and we go out with our song. No matter whether you are from the opposition or in position, we are all Liberian. We got one thing in common, it's Liberia. We are all Liberian.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our